There is a level of focus so powerful that most the people will never experience it. A level where distractions stop feeling tempting, where discipline no longer feels difficult, where waking up early isn't a battle, where doing what you said you would do becomes automatic. And the strange part? For centuries, Zen monks have trained themselves to live in that state every single day. Not through motivation, not through productivity hacks, and definitely not through willpower. They use a morning system so simple that most people dismiss it, until they see the results. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why a Zen monk can maintain the same practice for decades, while most people can't maintain a habit for 10 days. But there's a catch. This routine doesn't just change your schedule, it changes who you are. Chapter 1. The First Battle. Most people think discipline begins when the alarm clock rings. They're wrong. The first battle happens long before that. It happens the night before. A Zen monk doesn't wake up at dawn and decide what kind of day he's going to have. The decision was already made. Think about your typical morning. The alarm rings. Immediately, negotiations begin. 5 more minutes. I'll start tomorrow. I slept late. I deserve a break. Before your feet even touch the floor, you've already entered a debate with yourself. And here's the problem. The side of your brain arguing for comfort has been training for your entire life. It knows exactly what to say. Zen monks remove this battle completely, not because they're stronger than you, because they refuse to participate in the negotiation. In traditional monasteries, the morning bell rings at the same time every day. The response is automatic. The bell rings, the body moves. No discussion, no voting, no emotional analysis. Action comes first. Feelings come later. And that single principle changes everything. Because every negotiation drains energy. Every decision creates friction. Every excuse becomes a doorway back to your old life. The monk understands something most people never learn. Discipline isn't built by winning arguments with yourself. It's built by eliminating the argument entirely. Chapter 2. The Power of the Empty Morning. Now, here's where things become strange. Most people wake up and immediately allow the world into their minds. Notifications, emails, news, messages, problems, other people's priorities. Within minutes, their attention belongs to someone else. Zen practice takes the opposite approach. The first hours of the day are protected, not because mornings are magical, because attention is valuable. Imagine your focus as a clear lake. When you first wake up, the surface is calm. You can see everything clearly. Then the world starts throwing rocks into the water. A message, a headline, a stressful email, a social media post. Suddenly the surface becomes chaotic. Most people spend the rest of the day trying to calm the water again. The monk simply protects the lake before the rocks arrive. That's why many Zen morning practices begin in silence. No entertainment, no stimulation, no unnecessary input. Just awareness, just breathing, just being present. It sounds simple, because it is, but simple does not mean easy. Most people would rather face physical discomfort than sit quietly with their own thoughts for 20 minutes, which is exactly why the practice is so powerful. Chapter 3. One thing. Fully. Here's a secret about focus that nobody wants to hear. Your problem isn't that you have too much to do. Your problem is that you're trying to do too many things at once. A Zen monk approaches the morning differently. One activity, complete attention. Then the next activity, complete attention. Then the next. No multitasking. No constant switching. No fragmented awareness. Modern neuroscience has repeatedly shown that task switching carries a mental cost. Every time attention jumps, energy is lost. But monks understood this centuries before brain scans existed. They saw it directly. A distracted mind becomes a weak mind. A divided mind becomes an exhausted mind. So they train the opposite. When sitting, just sit. When eating, just eat. When walking, just walk. And before you dismiss that as philosophy, think about your last meal. Were you actually eating? Or were you scrolling, checking messages, watching videos, thinking about work? Most people are physically present and mentally absent. The monk trains presence itself, and over time, that presence becomes focus. Focus becomes clarity, and clarity becomes power. Chapter 4. The discipline. Nobody talks about. Most people think monks are disciplined because they meditate. That's only half the story. The real secret is repetition. Every morning follows a form, a sequence, a structure. Not because monks hate freedom, because structure creates freedom. Think about a train. A train looks restricted because it stays on tracks, but those tracks allow it to travel thousands of miles without getting lost. Remove the tracks and it stops being powerful. It becomes stuck. Your routines work the same way. Every morning you create new decisions. You create new opportunities to quit. Should I exercise today? Should I read? Should I meditate? Should I start next week? Every question opens another door for procrastination. The Zen monk closes those doors. The routine is already decided. The path is already chosen. The energy that most people waste on deciding gets redirected toward doing. And after enough repetition, something remarkable happens. The routine starts carrying you. You no longer rely on motivation. You no longer rely on excitement. You move because movement has become normal. Chapter 5. The day everything goes wrong. This is where most people fail. Not on normal days, on difficult days. Anyone can follow a routine when life is easy. The real test comes when everything falls apart. You oversleep, you get sick, you travel, you face stress, you lose momentum. Most habits die here, because people secretly believe consistency means perfection. The Zen tradition teaches something different. Continuity matters more than intensity. Read that again. Continuity matters more than intensity. A small practice that survives is infinitely more powerful than a perfect practice that disappears. Imagine two people. The first meditates for 1 hour every day for 10 days, then quits. The second meditates for 5 minutes every day for 2 years. Who wins? The answer is obvious, the second person, because transformation comes from accumulation, not from heroic effort. The monk understands this deeply. When circumstances change, the practice adapts, but it never disappears. The chain never breaks. And that's the moment discipline becomes unstoppable. Not when it's perfect, when it's continuous. Chapter 6. Becoming dangerous. Eventually, something strange begins to happen. People notice. Not because you're talking about discipline, because they can see it. You start showing up when you said you would. You start keeping promises. You stop making excuses. You stop negotiating with yourself. Your words gain weight. Your actions become predictable. And predictability is surprisingly rare. Most people operate according to emotions. You begin operating according to principles. That difference changes everything. Friends may call you obsessive. Others may say you've become extreme. Some people will become uncomfortable. Why? Because consistency exposes inconsistency. Your discipline becomes a mirror, and not everyone likes what they see in that reflection. But here's the truth. The goal isn't to impress anyone. The goal is freedom. Freedom from distraction, freedom from laziness, freedom from constantly starting over. The monk's routine isn't about becoming productive. It's about becoming dependable. Dependable to others, dependable to your goals, dependable to yourself. Chapter 7. The real morning routine. By now you may be wondering what the actual routine looks like, and the answer might disappoint you, because it's not complicated. Wake up at the same time, move immediately, protect the first hour, sit in silence, focus on one thing at a time, follow the same sequence, maintain continuity, repeat tomorrow. That's it. No secret supplement, no magical technique, no hidden shortcut. Just a system designed to remove friction between intention and action, and that's why it works. The greatest illusion of modern life is that complexity creates results. Zen teaches the opposite. Simplicity repeated consistently becomes extraordinary. The monk does not become disciplined through a single decision. He becomes disciplined through thousands of small decisions that eventually stop feeling like decisions. And that's the transformation most people never reach. The moment when discipline is no longer something you do, it becomes something you are. So the question isn't whether this routine works. The question is whether you're willing to become the kind of person who follows it. Because radical focus isn't a talent. Unstoppable discipline isn't a gift. They're identities. And every morning, whether you realize it or not, you're casting a vote for the person you're becoming. The Zen monk understands this. Tomorrow morning, will you?